look at her when she walked in, that's like it's like she's had a long time. I know, right?
So I just sent you this swipe, look at the second one. I'm sorry, what? When I just sent you the second one.
Do you have the live stream still playing? Oh. Because I think you can hear the audio.
Yeah, get out of that. Minimize it.
You have the live stream still
We'll go from there.
All right. We'll call this meeting to order at 5:38 p.m. Next, we'll be going into roll call. Speaker DeWard,
President voting.
Majority Leader Brummer,
Present.
Judiciary Chairperson Fayette Tays,
President voting.
Senior Chairperson Valdez,
Shot. There was a chat. Somebody shot.
Don't worry,
I don't know what that's going. Excellent. I wonder what. Excellent on that one.
point of personal privilege.
That's gonna copyright the stream, by the way.
This just means we'll just have to
The
highlight
stream
that.
is not wrong.
The stream isn't, but the recording is, we can just highlight that.
Yeah, I will flag it.
Order Chairperson Waters,
President voting.
Parliamentarian Vella,
Present.
Legislator Black,
They had to step away.
Yes.
Legislator Swicky, Legislator Lunger,
Excused. Those.
Legislator Evaso,
Excuse. Or not excuse. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Legislator Maku,
Excuse.
Legislator Markowitz,
Excused.
Legislator Martino,
Present.
Legislator Mays, Legislator Mason,
President.
Legislator Obra,
Present.
Legislator Prashandaro,
Present.
Legislator Rosario,
Present.
Legislator Serbu,
Excused.
Legislator Snell,
Point of personal privilege.
Legislator Wiegand,
Present.
Legislator Wolf.
Present.
All right, and with that, we meet quorum. Legislator Black, what are you voting?
President voting.
All right, moving on to our land acknowledgement. Further, we recognize the wrongs done to those forcibly removed from their homelands and commit to fostering an environment of inclusion that was responsive to the needs of First Peoples through our words, policies, and actions. Moving on, are there any to the approval of the agenda? Are there any amendments to the agenda at this time? Speaker DeWort.
Motion to change the speaker on guidelines for disability support committee to Clover DeVore.
Is there a second? Any objections? Oh, I'm just copying it. Are there any other changes to the agenda at this time?
We changed the speaker for the guest to Dr. Maria Pena.
Please spell it.
Maria. Last name Pena, Paino.
Like that.
Yes.
Are there any other changes to the agenda? All right, hearing none, we'll go into a voice vote. All in favor?
Yeah.
All opposed? All right, and with that, the agenda has been approved. Going into the approval of meeting minutes from the October 7th. Are there any changes proposed about the meeting minutes? Hearing none, we will go into a voice vote. All in favor of approving the meeting minutes? All opposed? All right, and with that, the minutes have been approved. Moving on to the guest speaker presented by Vincent Martinez.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I present to you Dr. Maria Pena, Associate Professor of Sociology and the Co-Chair of the General Education Ad Hoc Committee Revision.
Thanks. Perfect to have our presentation. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate that you all took the time to include us on your schedule and your agenda. This is our third trip back to Student Congress, and I know there's probably been some transitions since that time. So the first time we came and we asked you to sort of engage in a focus group with us and tell us about your experiences with general education courses here at Oakland University. And we took all of that information that we received and we added it to the data we were receiving from faculty. We then came back a year ago. So 2 years out, we did the first one. A year ago, we came back and we showed you what we've been working on. And we had a few poster boards and we showed you some of the models that we were creating for a new reformed general education program. And we took a lot of your suggestions and thoughts to heart as we were creating those reforms. Some of you might have also taken the survey that we had. I think it went out maybe maybe a year and a half ago. All students on campus got it, and it was just similar questions to what we'd asked before. So we have been trying to get student feedback along the way, and so I'm back here today with my co-chair, Layla Gassus, who's in mechanical engineering, and I also have a third person, and my party's growing, and it's Kathy Battles, and she, some of you might know her, she's the chair of communication and journalism, and she is the provost fellow who recently started to help us actually put the program in place in terms of the logistics and getting everything going, and also the budget, because it's gonna cost a lot of money. So what I wanna do today is I wanna show you what we have done based on feedback. And we had 3 model proposals for a general education reform last time, and now we're down to 2 models, as you can sort of see in the presentation title. So we have 2 models for you to think about, and we really want to get your feedback about the things that matter to students. And so I know that this group of students is really dedicated to Oakland University, and you really might also have a finger on the pulse of a lot of students who are like you. And so I'm hoping that you can give us really good feedback today. So you can go ahead and flip to the next one. I can do. So when we came last time, we talked about a few different elements, and I know that there's been some transitions, so I don't expect you to remember that, of course, but we are proposing a name change from general education to GRIS Core. And so we had 3 GRIS Core proposals, and now we're down to 2 GRIS Core proposals. And both of the models I'm about to show you include the following elements. Both models include a first-year experience. This is a course that students will take their very, very first semester, first year, and it's going to combine an academic course, so something that's cool and exciting, like a regular course with student success and academic success components. And I know that we talked a lot about that Common 100 class when we were here last, and how useful it is or how not useful it can be. And so we want to take some of the best parts of that course, but also add to them and make sure that students have the ability to find resources on campus, know where to go when they need to change their schedule or who their advisor is, note-taking strategies, self-care strategies, resources at the library, potentially some AI modules, if those are helpful. And so the first year experience is going to combine that academic course with the student success components. Both of the models that I'm about to show you balance some distributive elements, so you have to take one of this, one of this, one of this, kind of like what we have now, with some integrative elements, but we really, really want to make sure that students feel invested in their education. And so one of the things that you'll see both of these models have is a theme, and they can choose, and you can choose a theme that interests you. And I know I say you, but of course you're not going to get to take this model, it's for the future students. The students will choose a theme that interests them. It'll be interdisciplinary in nature, and they can explore that theme from a number of different perspectives. And so there's going to be a lot of flexibility, we hope, and a lot of room for students to pursue the things, explore the things that interest them. We do, of course, want to make sure that you're incorporating high impact practices for learning, and also transferable skill building. So when you're out there getting a job, you have your career, you have skills that you can take with you from GRIS Core. So we're presenting these as 2 models, but they're not like package deals. So if there's certain elements you prefer, you know, that's kind of the way to think about them, because we're going to go through another round and then go down to 1 GRIS Core proposal based on the feedback. So go ahead and click the next one. And then, yeah, go to the next one. So there's 2 first-year experience proposals on the table that we're asking folks to weigh in on. The first one is an experiential projects first-year experience. So students are going to come in their very first year, their very first semester, and they're going to take this course. It's going to be with other students all across the university. It's going to be a really diverse group. Each section, if we go with experiential projects, each section is built around a central driving question, something that's cool and fun. Like how do we colonize Mars? You know, something of that nature. You know, why does food matter? In that course, they're going to do 2 experiential learning activities and of course other things as well. But at the end, there's a final team-based assignment, and students will work together in teams to produce a project. And there will be a first-year experience showcase where students across the campus get together during their final exam time, and they present what they've been working on in that showcase. And then, of course, that course has the academic and student success components as well. The second proposal, the transformative texts first year experience, this is modeled after Cornerstone, which is popular at other universities, such as Purdue. This is a first year experience where students will spend time reading well-known works of literature, philosophy, history, and social thought, not limited, of course, just to literature, and not limited, of course, just to fiction. And the classes will be based on deep discussions, deep reading, of course, developing a sense of community, spending time really digging into material, of course, at that level. So it is a first year course, so we're not expecting students to, do what we would expect in an upper division course. And the assignments in this particular version of the first year experience, they can be team-based, and they very well might be. There might be some individual work, of course, but it's really about having those discussions and getting to know each other. This, of course, also has an academic success or a student success component. So those are the 2 first year experiences I want you to think about. And I also want to mention these are not binary. I present them as a binary, but that's rather false. And so, you can think about how maybe there's elements of one or elements of the other. Maybe if there's that hybrid version that you could see yourself preferring. And so we present them as 2 options with the knowledge that folks may, prefer some combination of factors. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so first year experience student success component. We're going to focus on development of academic, social, and life skills. And hopefully students are going to feel like at the end of this that they can successfully navigate the university and find a unique and connected place, here as an OU Grizzly. And I know I'm talking to a room full of very dedicated students. And so you might be surprised to know that a lot of your peers end up leaving the university after their first semester, after their first year. And so, there's something that's happening. They're not feeling integrated. They don't feel like they have the resources to succeed. Lots and lots of different reasons contribute to this. And so a lot of students, including some that are quite successful, really will benefit from this component of the first year experience. One of the things that we want to include, this is a common inclusion in other universities, is a peer mentor. And this is going to be an upper division student who's in the classroom, kind of like a teaching apprentice, to help in the classroom, help the professor certainly, but also help students, so kind of know where resources are on campus. And I think sometimes it's easier for students to talk to their peers. An upper division student may come to the professor and go, I don't know what to do. I have teaching apprentices in my own classroom, and sometimes my students go, don't talk to me, they talk to them instead. And so I get information through them, and it's much easier for students to feel part of those environments. So those mentors will really help first year students with that transition to OU. Transfer students will also have a 1 to 2 credit version of this course. It's just the student success component, so they will also get the benefits. We're not forgetting about the fact that transfer students also need to come to Oakland University and have a sense of belonging. Okay, so you can go ahead to the next one. And this is a QR code that will bring you to our website. And at the bottom, if you're online, this might be the better way to go. There's a link that'll bring you to the website. And by no means do I expect you to go and read everything that Layla Gessu's very, very wonderfully put on that website. But if you are feeling like you want to, feel free to go and explore, and you can ask us questions. And then, as voting opens up, you might want to spend more time looking at one thing or another. So feel free to spend some time there. And go to the next one. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the core model proposals that we have. So we have referred to these as model black and model gold. And I made these graphics, and I recognize that I probably would not do, I did not do that good of a job, so maybe we should have a student help next time. But this is an overview of model black, and this will be, this is one proposal, and then I'm going to show you model gold. So the first year experience in Model Black is an experiential project, first year experience, and then students move into a set of 7 foundation courses. So the writing course that I know you're already taking and everybody took, and that's staying put, nothing's changing. A human connection and communication course, and this is about like oral presentation, communication, listening, presence building, professionalization with regard to that oral communication. A quantitative reasoning class that can be all kinds of different things. It can be financial literacy, it can be your stats class that you're already taking, it can be advanced calculus if you're in the engineering program. A difference in power requirement and world language and culture requirement, scientific inquiry, and then at the end you'll see texts in contexts. And this is very similar to the idea of transformative texts. It's just placed in the foundations part of this model instead of the first year experience. So once students complete those 8 courses, then students move on to the fun part, we hope, and they'll choose a theme that interests them. And these are just for illustrative purposes only. So all of these themes at the bottom you will vote on. And actually I care more about what the students want to take than what faculty think, because ultimately they're the ones who have to pick and choose where they're going to be. So you choose a theme that interests you: environment and sustainability, social justice and ethics, creative expressions, global connections. These are just examples. And then you take any 3 courses you want that are in that theme. They just have to have different prefixes. So you'll notice that none of these themes have the same titles as majors. So it's not like, oh, I'm an education major, so I need to go find something with regard to education. We want them to be interdisciplinary and to be fun. Our hope is that this theme part of the model will be a place where students can get a credential, like a minor or a certificate. So you also have that on your resume, and it's going to be very resume building. So this is the theme-based portion of the model at the bottom, and it's very integrative. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at GRIS core model gold. The next one. This one's only 10 courses. I say only, they're very similar. One's 10, one's 11. And you'll see that the first year experience example here is transformative text. Of course, it has that academic or student success component. And then there's 5 foundational courses. There's a writing course, of course, we're going to keep that one. There's the human connection and communication course. We have a formal reasoning course here. And the difference between this model and the last model, by formal reasoning and one quantitative reasoning and another, is because in this model we would allow like a logic course to count or something of that nature. So it wouldn't have to be a math class, but also the other math classes could count as well. The difference in power requirement in the foundations, and then we have a little bit of a departure here, a global citizenship foundational requirement. So it would not be a world language and culture requirement in this model. So students would not be required to take a language. And they certainly could, students certainly could take a language, and it would count in the global citizenship category, but lots of other things could count as well, like an anthropology course or a global perspectives course or a global politics course, something of that nature could count as well. For students who do want to explore modern languages, it's possible that that course can also count here in human connections and communication if there's a lot of dialogue in a different language, and if there was a lot of oral presentation work, just so we make sure that students are able to count that in lots of different ways, but also do it fits best with their goals. Okay, so then students get to the themed part of the model, and you need to choose a theme again. So same idea, these are just examples, and I think there's some overlap, not perfect, but you take 4 courses in your theme. And the difference here is once you pick your theme, you have to take 1 course in each of these disciplines. So let's say you choose media and technology. So that's your theme, and then you have to take 4 courses that meet that theme's requirements, 1 of them in humanities, 1 in life sciences, 1 in social sciences, and 1 in the arts. So then you're hitting those different areas of the university, and you're thinking about that theme from these different perspectives, and it's forcing you into those subdisciplines a little bit more than the last one where you have complete and utter freedom. And so this is a similar way to do things, but it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more structured. There's a few more rules around it. And we can talk about rules too if you're interested in that, what it would look like on the student end, but I know that I'm short on time, so keep going. So I think I have a series of slides here we can skip but go back to if we need to. These are just descriptions of the categories. You can flip through this one and then skip that one. We can come back to these if you would like to. I want to stop here where it says writing across the curriculum. We are adding a new designation. We have writing intensive in the major, writing intensive in Gen Ed. But a lot of folks ask for more writing on the faculty side. And one of the things we are adding to the risk core curriculum would be a writing enhanced designation. And the intensity with which writing will occur in these courses is not going to be nearly as much as the writing enhanced courses. In fact, you're probably already doing a lot of it in your courses. We just want to make sure you get that designation and you get that credit for it. And so students are going to be required, of course, to do the writing intensive courses they always have. But in addition, hit 2 writing enhanced courses along the way. Just so students can have the opportunity to make sure they're not just taking a class that's straight lecture and all Scantron. I know maybe that is appealing to some of you, but in general, I think students do feel like it's a bit of a bore. So ideally, you will have some variation here. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop there. We can go back to any of the slides, but I wanted there to be time for Q&A and then also for us to maybe follow up with questions, if that's okay with you. Keeping an eye on the time.
Are there any questions at this time? Director Lisecki?
Thank you. Just for better understanding, can you give a brief summary of what curricula this is expected to replace its current?
Yeah, so the general education curriculum that we have right now is what this is replacing. It will be general education, but we'll call it GRIS core. So right now you took 1 literature, 1 social science, global perspectives, right? And you had those check boxes, unless you came in with the MTA or you transferred in with your general education is already done. So the general education curriculum currently asks students to complete between 11 and 13 courses. And people call them their gen eds, and they're like, oh, I just gotta check these off, and then I need to be done with them. And so, you know, it's going to replace that, but it is going to be very similar in terms of the number of credits and the number of courses, I should say, the number of courses. And so this will be the new gen ed, but we'll call it GRIS.
How soon are you, you may have mentioned, if so, and how soon are you expecting to institute this?
Yes. Well, as you know, this is year 3 of me coming back to talk to you. We are gonna tell you that it's gonna be the fall of 2027. So anybody entering in the fall of 2027 would be on that catalog with the full knowledge that things move incredibly slowly here. And it might take longer, but I'm still gonna stick to that. And I'm still gonna tell people that. Maybe we can get it off the ground. So fall 2027 would be my hope. And the incoming class then would be on that catalog. So everybody who's currently here would stay on their own catalog and complete what we currently have to do.
Speaker DeWard?
Ready to move it back because I'm watching the microphone because we have audio issues quite frequently. I just wanted to ask though, with the classes that are being changed, please forgive me if I'm wrong, we're going to a different number of classes required for gen eds. I'm wondering if that's going to change the credit requirement to like complete a bachelor's degree at OU. Is that it? How's the credit requirement going to change along with the new gen ed policy?
Yes, that's a really good question, and I appreciate that you asked that. So right now, the credits that you are required to complete in your college or in your school are separate. So there are some rules around what we have to have at the university with regard to general education. So there's a 30 credit minimum. So students have to complete 30 credits minimum in order to be meeting what our accrediting body wants us to meet. So what we are proposing is actually not based on credit hours, but courses. And so if we went with, say, Model Black, for instance, that would be 11 courses. Students could probably get it done in fewer than 4, because they might take some 3 credit courses that are currently offered. It could be up to that many if they took all 4 credit classes. And then in Model Gold, it would be it would be 10 courses, so you would have to complete 10 courses. And that is very similar to what students are already doing now. We do recognize that some of these courses you're going to also be duplicating in your major. So for instance, the formal reasoning requirement or the quantitative reasoning requirement, you're probably already taking something, many majors are already taking something, with a few exceptions, like in the arts and the humanities. Like a statistics class, and we're going to count that. So we're not going to make you then go take a second formal reasoning class, which is what we've been doing, which is crazy. And so that is going to free some people up because they're not going to have to then go get another one. Now, it's possible you'll want to get a different course, like, okay, I took my stats class, but I want to take this really brand new, cool financial money management class, and you of course can go do that. But we're going to try to make it so students have some flexibility with regard to that. So we're primarily talking about courses, not credits, but ultimately we know that those things are related. That's complicated.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, because you brought up the 30 credit requirement for gen eds, with it converting to 11 courses requirement, which as you mentioned will go up to like 44 credits, should you take all 4 credit classes. Is that 30 credit minimum gonna remain just to be able to complete your degree, or is that potentially going to change?
Right, okay, so Oakland University doesn't actually set that. The accrediting body that we are beholden to is the Higher Learning Commission, HLC, and they require all universities that are accredited under that body to have 30 credits minimum that students complete as part of general education. So when we designed our program, we wanted to make sure that we were well within that, because that's the bare minimum. I mean, it's like, we're trying not to race to the bottom on this, and we want to make sure that we do it for our students, make sure they get everything they deserve to get in a college education, of course. And so that is not our requirement. So we do have 10 courses and 11 courses. So you could potentially only take 30, which would be the minimum if you only had 3 credit courses, but I think that's very highly unusual here at the university. I think most students are taking a lot of 4 credit classes, so you'll be somewhere in the middle there, probably closer to that 40 mark, if I were being realistic about it. Yeah, thanks. Thank you for that. That was great.
Legislative one. Yeah.
I just really quickly wanted to ask about the discussion on making the new gen ed curriculum potentially no or low cost. I know that was visited previously, and Dr. Pano, I know you've worked with Julia Rodriguez a little bit on this, but I just wanted to ask if there's any progress and seeing if that's something that we can secure within the gen ed reform as well.
That is my dream, Marion. I would love to see it no cost or low cost. And I know, I'm working on that in my own department. So sociology is moving to a C degree. And it's very near and dear to my heart that we could do that. I think that's a layer that I would like to add on once we have a curriculum in place. And I think there might be some courses that couldn't go no cost, but my hope is that we could at the very least be low cost. And I know that Minnesota is doing that right now, the Minnesota state system. They're moving to low cost gen eds, and I know community colleges have done this. So I think it's definitely possible, but it's going to require a lot of work in terms of getting buy-in from faculty. But believe me, it is definitely my goal that we could make the entire thing low cost or no cost, or at the very least prioritize those courses in terms of getting them into the curriculum and making sure that those are front and center for the students.
Okay.
Martino.
Hi, so I just wanted to ask, for the students coming in 2026, assuming this goes into force and we just through 2027, what will happen to the students for 2026? Do they have the same requirements, or will they shift over to these new requirements?
So it's really going to be potentially a case-by-case basis. So if you were to come in the fall of 2026, you would not be asked to leave your catalog. So you could stay on the catalog that you came in with, which would be the current general education system. But if you wanted to, you could jump to the 2027 catalog if that's when we start it. And students are always welcome to move ahead in a catalog. They just can't move backwards in a catalog, is my understanding. And so I certainly think that students that start in the fall of 2026 might be like, hey, that's really cool, I get to pick a theme and do it. The question is, how do we deal with like missing out on the first year experience? And so maybe we have to find a way to do like a POE for those students in that transitional time, or maybe just let them take the first year experience if they want to. I don't know if that's going to be possible, maybe the transfer version, but you know, I think there is probably a way to get students onto the new gen ed if they want to be there. But by no means would we ever force students to join catalogs. We wouldn't do that. I do know that some units sometimes ask their students to move catalogs, and that could affect your gen ed. So if accreditation standards change, this might be a question Layla knows more about than me. If your accreditation standards change, then they need to get all the students graduating on a newer catalog, then it might affect gen ed. But I think there's going to be some wiggle room there to make sure we do not harm students. We'll make sure that we are not putting students in a place where like, oh, I spent all this money on courses, now I have to take more course things.
I think we have to see ones that said 6. Yes, it's also those.
Yeah, so fall 2026 students would be the last, presumably if we start fall 2027, fall 2026 students would be the last catalog in, but then we would have to run it for 6 years to make sure they can see it all the way through. And there will be a lot of overlapping courses in terms of what we're offering. It's just how the students can stack them for their curriculum and for their, you know, for their own resume. But we will be offering it through that 6 years, so students can graduate in 6 years and have access. Yeah.
President Johnson.
I think my question will more so be, and this probably might have been answered, but I guess I'll ask it again just to be safe. How will this impact, like from 2027 on, any transfer students who might not have completed all of their general education credits? Will this have any impact on them, or is it kind of just set to go for that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So let's say a student comes in and they don't have the MTA, right? And so they're not going to be able to just say, okay, I have the MTA, I'm done. First of all, the transfer students are going to take the transfer student experience course right off the bat. We're going to get them integrated into the community, make sure that they know where the resources are on campus. They are going to be able to access that particular class. The advisors on campus have told us that students often need like 1 or 2 credits at the upper division level, like that 3,000 or 4,000 level. They're always short like 1 or 2 credits. So this should also help fulfill that need. But then if you notice some of the requirements, if you look at the foundations and you look at the themes, a lot of those course categories are very, very interdisciplinary in nature, and they're really wide open. And so our hope is that there's a lot more flexibility with regard to these courses and letting students transfer in courses they've already taken from community colleges, from other institutions, other 4-year institutions, and finding a way to get those credits to count on the new GRIS course. So it'll be a similar process to what's happening right now, but because these categories are much more interdisciplinary in nature, we do hope it improves flexibility and students don't have to, take even more credits and pay for even more credits than they already have or they're already doing so. That is the hope, but on the ground level, sometimes there's some pains that we'll have to work through. Good question.
Legislator Mason.
Okay, so I really love this idea. I love everything about it, especially the peer mentor. I would have loved to have a support system there when I was a freshman. I think that's super smart. And my sister, she's actually gonna be coming here in the fall 2026. So I know you mentioned that you can request to skip ahead and do this, which is awesome. I'm really glad that you can do that because I love all the freedom of like choosing and all the interdisciplinary and soft skills that you get from these classes. I just had a couple questions about it. So I know you showed 2 models, gold and black. Do you just pick one of the 2, or is just one installed?
Yeah, that's a good question. So these are our model proposals. So after we get a round of feedback from the university, from the campus community, folks are going to vote on all of the different elements they're looking at. So like in Model Gold, we showed how we might have a global citizenship class, but in Model Black, there's a language and culture class, right? Well, we're going to ask folks right now,
on the campus to vote on the elements of the models they like best, and then we're gonna choose one model. It's not gonna be a package deal though. We're probably gonna hybridize them in some fashion. And the final model is probably gonna be 10 or 11 courses, but there aren't gonna be, you're not gonna be able to choose. This is the choice right now. Now's the time to choose, because your sister, when she's here, the choice will be made by you and your peers, right? And so, yeah, once we're locked in, then that'll be the Gris core curriculum, and we'll only have one. And so just like I'm asking you to think between these two first-year experiences, which one do you think would be better? Which one do you, or maybe some version that combines these two things? I'm asking you to vote now. That way, when your sister comes, when future students come, we're set with our one model.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love the gold one because I really like that you could pick one theme and then how the 4 courses could relate to it. I think it's great to see, because in anything you do in the workforce, you're gonna see that like you have to have a team come together and do all these different things. I have 2 more questions. Sorry. How will this affect like the honors college classes? Because I know there might be some overlap there.
Easy chuckles. We're meeting with the honors college soon.
Yeah, because I feel like that'd be a bit of a problem there, but
Can you elaborate on why you think it would be a problem?
yeah, I think the honors college definitely likes to have their own thing going on, so they would probably
Yeah, that's right.
not agree with this and want to have like a higher standard for their classes. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I think you're right.
They could have sessions, but we're hoping to integrate, have the honors college students also meet some of these requirements.
Yeah.
Even if there may be some additional courses that have the honors college designation.
that's good.
Yeah.
But we're meeting with them.
You know, it's tough because the honors college does a really nice job coming up with these cool classes. It's like awesome, fun, very cool things. And then what happens is it's unrelated to our current gen ed curriculum. And that's great if you stay in the honors college. But when I chaired gen ed a number of years ago, what I saw was all these POVs, petitions of exception, coming across my desk over and over for students who left the honors college. And then all of a sudden, none of these courses counted for what we had in our gen ed requirements. And we had to figure out a way that they didn't have to take additional courses, and it was harming them. And it really stressed me out a lot that these amazing students were sort of left holding the bag because we hadn't figured this out as faculty members, as staff members. And you know, it's not right that the students are the ones who are penalized in this. So my hope is that we can get them on board. We're meeting with them next week. And at the very least, make sure our designations line up and we're on the same page, but I'm not in charge.
I know you have another question, but I'd like to call on another speaker. All right. Legislator Duffy.
Question or comment was also sort of related to the Honors College. So I was especially taken with the model of the first year experience in either version. I think that would be very helpful for students. And as I'm sure you know at this point, in the Honors College, we have a course, Honors 1000, that I am working in this semester as a TA, and which aims to fulfill a lot of the same goals. I emphasis on aims to fulfill a lot of the same goals as are laid out in this first year experience model. So I'm curious, we've spoken about the honors gen ed courses, but even if it's just speculation, do you have any idea of how something like Honors 1000 would relate to this first year experience and whether they could hypothetically coexist?
Yeah, I actually think that's a really good idea, and I think, you know, part of this is about building community. And so in one version of this, I could see students from all across the university taking these courses together. In another version of this, in my head, I could see maybe the Honors College has their own first year experience. Because at this point, the honors college is pretty large. I think there were 600 students incoming from all different majors. And the honors college is a little bit different with regard to like majors. We don't want it to be that if you're like a dance major or you're an engineering major, you have your own first year experiences and then you're only with dancers or you're only with engineers or you're only with people with your major. I don't think that's as likely to happen in the honors college, so I think the committee would be open to letting the honors college just continue with that and letting it count. But also, if it's the case that it's duplicating, and then it would free up the honors college to do something else, then maybe it would be better if the honors college students were just in the regular first year experience. I think there's a number of different ways that could play out, and I don't know the best way it should play out. I think non-honors college students would really benefit from having honors college students in the courses with them. And I think that can be really, really awesome for most students on campus. I just am not sure how the honors college is gonna wanna do it, but you're right. A lot of what we're proposing in that first year experience is very similar to the ideas that exist in Honors 1000 right now. The peer mentor, like this really cool class, students get to explore things, they get to have a chance to really think about what they want as a student, and I think that's so important, and this is the time in your life when you should do that. And so my hope is that next week we can get some more answers for you, but if you feel free to like send us your ideas or your thoughts on the matter if you have more, because I really, really want to hear from the students' perspective, as many students as possible. That's great.
Yeah. Can I just add one comment? I think one of the things when we were crafting the models is we would hear about some really cool, interesting honors college courses. And we were like, we would like for all students to have access to some of that sense of community and some of those experiences. So if they already have something, a model with this Honors 1000, that we could also learn from, we definitely need to doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned voting. Do you have like an idea of when that would be like available? Like how we would go about?
Yeah. So if you go to the QR code, there is a way to vote right now as a student, right? There's a student option. I can just ask you.
Yeah.
It's not exactly what we want from you though. If you want to, go ahead, go in there and you vote. But I think the students are gonna probably get their own survey soon. And I don't want you to get like survey fatigue with me and you're like, please go away and don't come back. And so I do think you could do it here, but we are going to create a survey and ask folks to tell us about the things that matter to students. And it's gonna be a little bit more in depth, but a little bit more student focused, if that makes sense. But you could do both if you wanted to. I am not gonna tell you not to. I'm pretty sure there's a student option on there. I think faculty, staff, and students can all weigh in. And then it's like separated at the end. But yeah, so that would be my hope. We're gonna close this one at the end of November, Thanksgiving, let's say Thanksgiving. And then I think the other student one, we're gonna leave open through the end of the semester once we get it going. And we're gonna distribute that potentially through an email and then also through like, you know, the GrisWorks or organization emails. Probably we'll have a chance to do it with you all, is my thinking. And then have different folks help us reach out to commuters and make sure we get input from them, because it's always the same students who are inputting, you know, into the surveys. So we want to make sure that we get a diverse group. So by all means, do both, but we do have a better one coming. Suzanne's working.
So that is the end of discussion. Time, do you need final thoughts?
No, but I know some of you still had questions that you wanted to ask, and feel free to email me if you wanted to do so. And Vincenzo has my email and Layla's email, and you can also just send them all to him, and then he can send them my way. Yeah, thank you.
I do want to say I'm the student representative for this committee. And I would love to take all your emails or anything you want to talk to me about it. I'm here for it. Obviously, I'm not the best communicator here, but send it to me, give it to me, and I will make sure that it gets to them because this is the future of Oakland University. This is what we will be doing for years to come, and what you can tell us will make the biggest difference. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Vice President Matthews, one point of order, legislator Wiegand had to take a point for personal privilege.
All right, moving on to announcements. Are there any announcements at this time? Speaking of work,
I got two. I'm gonna look up the first one while I'm saying my second one. The first one is noting our election day policy within Appendix 1. And the fact that next week is an election day. I've at least talked to President Johnson, and we will have to cancel next week's GBM. So the next GBM that we will hold will be on, I believe, November 11th. Is the next one. And my other thing, I'm trying to find exactly what legislators needed me to present on her behalf. I apologize. Oops. One second. I'm sorry. Okay. Grizzlies Together in Grief is is having an event on Friday, November 21st at 12 p.m. In memory of Senior Vice President Glenn McIntosh. It's a big group grieving event in his memory. So if anybody is interested, it'll be the Lake Superior room.
are there any other announcements? All right, seeing none, we'll go into discussion. We have Meet the Reps Committee, and initiative information presented by Speaker Moore.
All right. Hi, everybody. I know I've been talking for the past 2 months about Meet the Reps, but it is coming up very quickly on November 6th, if you didn't know. So in that span of time, I forgot my other announcement that was going to be relevant to this. My other announcement was going to be we're probably going to have to cancel the legislature meeting on Friday just because I've heard a lot of people got plans on Halloween night. So out of respect for that, and out of respect for y'all's plans, yeah, I'll probably have to cancel that. But noting that, I don't think we have another legislature meeting or task forces in the time between now and Meet the Reps. So I just wanted to bring up now the Meet the Reps Committee initiative information. For those that don't know my current plan for Meet the Reps, one of our tables specifically is going to have a little wheel that I bought. It's got 12 spots on it. We're gonna do a little guess the initiative thing. Legislator Mays can correct me if I'm wrong on exactly how that was formatted, but it was we tell them a description of the initiative, and their goal is to guess what the initiative is named, and then they receive one of the tote bag, pen, or sticker prizes. Was that correct? I think that's what we talked about the legislature meeting. I think so. But as I said, there's 12 spots on there, so we do need 12 things specifically on there. So the main thing I wanted to do here was just solidify 12 things we wanted talked about and advertise. This would be our 12 biggest initiatives as a Congress. So I put together a little list on my phone of a lot of our big initiatives. So one I'll do these little increments of how I want to do them. So one I'm debating on how many spots I wanted to take up is the free products we provide. So I had on here free stamps, free printing, our free vending machine products, our free sensory supplies, the free mental products, the first generation student t-shirts, and the free blue books and Scantrons. I'm wondering if I put that under like 2 spots, so I have like one specifically dedicated to the vending machine products, because that's a, big, it has like a lot of the stuff in there, and then the rest of the stuff can all be another, like, one of their own things, if that's cool with everybody. I don't know if anybody had thoughts on that one specifically.
I think we could pretty evenly divide those between, like free health supplies and free school supplies.
Okay.
But that would exclude the merchandise and things of that sort, if that's okay.
Which I'm okay with excluding merchandise, because another third thing we could probably include it under is we also have our swag exchange program, so people can come in and give swag from another university in exchange for a USC crew neck. So I'm thinking I could also put the t-shirts under there as like a little throw in. That could be 3 of the spots. Okay. And then for the rest of the spots, I have like some of our big initiatives we do just as a Congress. So I have on here the midterm grade policy, the voice committees, just the community support committee. These are about like more of our public initiatives that people more care about. Also have our mental health resources. We can talk about those a little bit. We talk about our DEI support, so like our resolutions we passed, so like DEI's free campus ones, the DEI resolutions we passed at the beginning of the summer. We provide free ride cards, those kinds of things. Talk about the trails, and that we maintain them. I know that's a lot of Legislative Person Barrow's work. We talk about the medical amnesty work that Legislator Maku is currently working on. We talk about co-sponsoring events, which is something I'm trying to take up under the student engagement task force. Classroom engagement work that has been done by Legislator Markowitz. Campus food committee, which is kind of a broader thing, but I know Legislator Hayes and President Johnson have been kind of retooling that a little bit. And I also have the heritage events on there. So I just want to put those up because I do have to consolidate them, as I said, to 12, and since we have 3 taken up, we got to consolidate these down to 9. So if I need to repeat any of those, but I can. But just I want to get a solid list of 12 down. If anybody has thoughts on consolidating that down to those 9, how would you propose to do that?
In my thinking about this, could we come up with some sort of unifying term to, I don't want to say lump, but what you said, consolidate heritage weeks and voice committees under potentially the same umbrella? Because like in the short term and long term, I would argue those are aiming to accomplish similar goals of amplifying specific voices in campus life.
We also just include the general DEI support in there.
Potentially, yes.
So I'm sorry, Vice President Matthews, I'm completely just taking over chairing this part of the discussion.
It's
So if you
your
wanted to take that part over, I'm sorry.
Was there any other discussions at this time?
Yeah, so, okay, that'll bring me down to, let's see, I have 4 spots taken up, and then the other ones were, I got 8 more after that, so I guess that would be perfect if I want to consolidate it down to those other 8, if we're all cool with that. So if I just want to repeat those, it's midterm grade policy, community support committee, mental health resources, trails, medical amnesty, co-sponsoring events, classroom engagement, and campus food committee. Anybody have any thoughts on those? Because the only other 2 I might include are some of our sustainability initiatives, if we have any more general ones under there. We could also include stuff about the data center opposition campaign. Any more thoughts? Okay, I'll consolidate it down to those 8 that we have. That gives me that list of 12. That's all I need to thank you. And the only other thing, if anybody has any interest in helping me put together the information for this for Meet the Reps, please let me know between now and Meet the Reps, just so I can get that all put together. Thank you.
Hearing now there's further discussion, we'll move on to new business. We have What number bill is this?
I think it's 22.
CB 6822, presented by legislator Mason.
Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Okay, so I wanted to make a bill to do something for, Thanksgiving, something with National Gratitude Month. So I thought that we could give away little gifts for the student body, the faculty and staff during a tabling event. And so November is National Gratitude Month, so we can do it anytime. Maybe closer to Thanksgiving would be nice. So Oakland University Student Congress recognizes the efforts made by the student body, faculty, and staff alike. Student Congress understands the importance of uplifting and celebrating individuals that make up the Oakland University. And Student Congress will prepare a variety of giveaways during a tabling session in November for the increase in campus engagement and enriching the school culture through the practice of gratitude. Let it hereby be amended by the members of the legislature of the executive board of the Oakland University Student Congress for the betterment of campus and student life. Create a line item under student advocacy budget entitled peer gratitude expenses and move $150 from unclassified funds to peer gratitude expenses. Is there any questions?
That's a question or just a statement and a motion. So I just wanted to note that during November, our tabling opportunities are November 3rd and November 17th. Even if we order these today, we're not going to get them by November 3rd. But in order to get them enough time through OSI to get them purchased by November 17th, we kind of have to have this passed today. So just with that context being given, I would like to hereby motion to dispense a reading, move to a second reading.
Can you please clarify what the motion is?
Motion to dispense a reading.
Is there a second?
I second.
Well, now it's a second reading, so it's discussion.
Any other discussion? Let's start over.
Just had a question on like what items you were thinking of giving away.
Yeah, so during the tabling, I was thinking of 3 different things. One of it is like inspirational and like grateful pens. So these pens are like wooden bamboo pens, are very nice, and they say like, oh, thank you for all you do, stuff like that we're just gonna pass out. The other thing was these like resin animals that say like puns with them. They're very cute, just something to like make people smile. And then the other thing was like hand lotion, something like that. Just like little things that we can hand out to all the students passing by, and then faculty and staff members as well, just to like say thank you. And yeah, that would be something that would definitely increase campus engagement, and it would be nice to do for the school.
Any other discussions? As this is the second reading, we can go into a vote.
Point of order, legislator Mays is taking a point of privilege.
Thank you, Speaker Board. Speaker Moore,
Yay.
Chairperson Fayette-Tays,
Yay.
Chairperson Waters,
Yay.
Legislator Black,
Yay.
Majority Leader Brummer,
Yay.
Chairperson Valdez, Parliamentarian Bella,
Yay.
Legislator Squeaky,
Yay.
no. Legislator Martino. Legislator Mason.
Yay.
Legislator Obra,
Yay.
Legislator Christian.
Yay.
Legislator Rosario,
Yay.
Legislator Wolf.
I apologize for the simple measure for
Legislator Martino, how do you vote on CB 6822?
yay.
Sorry.
And with that, CB 6822 has passed. All right, going into old business, we have CB 6821, presented by Speaker DeWard.
Let's go up there, I guess. Funsies. I did. Hello. Okay. Whoa. Hi, so this is once again presenting the creation of 2 liaison positions. This is for the Disability Support Services Office and the Veterans Support Services Office. I talked briefly with, I want to say Director Swan, I think is her name, right, from DSS, and I've talked to, why am I forgetting people's names right now? Vince, what's the? Lisa, yes, I did talk to Lisa about it. They both have people currently in mind. I just have to meet with them both again just to solidify who the picks were for that. Yeah, this just establishes a liaison between those offices. I believe this is really necessary just to make sure we're promoting their services that they provide and just having an established line of communication with our offices. So yeah, I will open that to Archie. There were a couple positions that we were looking to add also, notably. We don't have to worry about that now. I'll talk about that with President Johnson later, but yeah, just with this bill, any questions?
Seeing no questions, we'll just go into a vote. Speaker DeWard,
Yeah.
Judiciary Chairperson Fayette Cortez,
Yeah.
Chairperson Waters,
Yeah.
Legislator Black,
Yeah.
Majority Leader Brummer,
Yay.
Steering Chairperson Valdez, Parliamentarian Bella,
Yeah.
Legislator Squeaky,
Yay.
Legislator Martino,
Yay.
Legislator Mason,
Yay.
Legislator Obra,
Yay.
Legislator Christian,
Yay.
Legislator Rosario,
Yay.
Legislator Wolf.
Yay.
And with that, CB 6821 has passed. All right, on to the guidelines for the Disability Empowerment and Equity Committee. Presented by
I'm just,
Speaker DeWard.
yeah, I'm just presenting these on behalf of Legislator Lunger. I did co-sponsor and help her write these, so I felt like I could at least give some input on some of what I know on her side of things. Vice President Matthews, want to scroll down a little bit. It's pretty standard with the rest of the voice committees, that have been created. As like there's no membership requirement. It has open seats for all of those organizations on there, DSS, OU Cares, Best Buddies, Future Leader Dogs, Active Minds, the Oakland Counseling Center, the Academic Success Center, and just any other relevant orgs. I'm gonna continue to scroll down. Noting the faculty advisors, Laura White, Beth Wallace, and Brian Wigman, are all faculty advisors on the committee. Format's the exact same as any of the other voice committees that have been created. I continue to scroll down, sorry. Meeting schedule, the only thing to note on here that's anything different than the other committees is meetings shall always be on ground floor levels whenever possible, just to allow for better accessibility for people that have wheelchair and other mobility disabilities. Along with meetings shall always be in a hybrid format, just to account for people that just can't make it to campus. I continue to scroll down. The only other thing on there is that the hopeful outcome is just to address the issues presented by disabled students. It also aims to provide and advertise existing resources available on campus, provided by the many different organizations dedicated to that. It aims to be inclusive to all students at Oakland University so that the issues affecting the many different communities may be addressed by this committee. With that, I will open it up to any questions.
All right, hearing none. Let's get it back.
I'm just curious why those 3 specific faculty advisors were chosen, and I'm just curious about their relevance to the goals of the committee of President Johnson.
I remember because it was discussed. I think those 3 specifically were chosen just because the 3 of them specifically reached out with an interest in getting involved with the committee. I think, and it was decided that instead of like creating active chair seats for them, or not active chair seats, active like seats for those specific people, it'd be better to just have them on as advisors in the off chance, they're not able to do it one semester and whatnot. So they can be involved, they're just not as committee if they can't be. I believe that was what was discussed.
Yeah, this is why I wish Legislator Snell or Advisor Miller were here, because I'm pretty sure those were both the people that proposed these advisors, so I don't remember off the top of my head.
That answers my question well enough, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Saying none, we can go into a vote. Okay, speaker to work.
Yay.
Judiciary Chairperson Fayette Tays.
Yay.
Commuter Support Chairperson Waters.
Yay.
Legislator Black.
Yay.
Majority Leader Brummer. Steering Person Valdez. Parliamentarian Vella.
Yay.
Legislator Zwicky.
Yay.
Legislator Martino.
Yay.
Legislator Mason.
Yay.
Legislator Obra.
Yay.
Legislator Pershandaro.
Yay.
Legislator Rosario.
Yay.
Legislator Wolf.
Yay.
All right, and with that, the guidelines for the Disability Empowerment and Equity Committee has passed.
Wait, yeah, can you pull up that vote total again? Total heads abstentions, 12 votes. Okay. Never mind, thank you.
Alright, going on to discussion again. Okay, well, do we have anything else to discuss? Hearing none, going on to legislative updates, the first person speaking to work.
Yeah, to say that document I have been forgetting to send out, I apologize wholeheartedly to anybody that's wanted to write down a legislative update, that's totally my bad. Regarding my update, once again, Meet the Reps is November 6th. I could really use people if you are available at that time. It's at 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. in the Oakland Center. If you're free to sign up, it's on the spreadsheet, tabling and events. Should totally come to that. Also, regarding Meet the Reps, we're putting together a little trifold of just like Meet the Legislature with a bunch of pictures of us. So if you have any pictures of you just like working in the community, just like any silly pictures of you that you want up there, please let me know now, just so I can start working on putting that together. Just any pictures of you would be really cool. I would also, if possible, like to get a group picture of the whole legislature, but I get that's a little bit difficult because 22 adults working in one schedule is physically impossible, as I've learned in the past 6 months. Let's see, outside of that, I don't want to steal too many people's thunder because there's a lot of big events coming up, but I did get to go to the Michigan Public Service Commission hearing yesterday with a couple people from OUSC. We got to hear them talk a little bit about what's called specifically, but we were able to give like public comments and stuff related to the data center, making them aware a little bit of that. A couple other people locally gave some similar updates. We also were able to rally a little bit with the Sierra Club outside. It was pretty fun, got to learn some of the stuff. I gotta leave a comment over email because Liaison Garcia and I got a little bit distracted talking about other stuff before we were supposed to write a comment, so that was my bad. But other than that, I'm trying to remember. Other than that, it's just making sure I need to actually have this conversation with Blake. I tried going in there last week to try to set up the his petition along with the LGBTQIA plus advocacy action committee, and I believe I got told if we were to work on it at that point, he would just say I can't say the word he used, but F it, he would just leave if he didn't write that. So we didn't work on it then. I just got to go to the GSC and talk about it with him. But other than that, I don't want to steal people's thunder. They can talk about their own offense, so I will leave it to legislative leadership.
Chairperson matters.
Hello, everyone. Oh, is it off? There we go. Haunted Hallways. It is this Thursday. If you are interested in volunteering or working the event, we have the sign up. It was sent over email, I believe, Monday, right? Monday?
Either Monday or last night.
Yeah, it was.
It was Monday.
Yeah, it was Monday. And we are doing a dry run where we're setting everything up, making sure we have everything. Our last preparation for the actual event after this GBM. So if you are at all interested in helping staff the event, or you just maybe want a little bit more time on your sheet, come help me set up for the dry run. It would be, I'd love to have you. With that, I think that's all from me. So I will get.
Visionary Chairperson, say the floor.
Okay, so I just want to say I was also at that commission meeting with the board. It was the Public Service Commission for Michigan. They're basically talking about sustainability in Michigan and reducing carbon emissions over time. However, there was a large presence of people who were protesting the data centers that are sprouting up across Michigan. I know, there were also a lot of students from Oakland that were there that weren't associated with OUSC. I think there was about 3, which was a lot considering the crowd of people that were actually there. And if it was actually advertised to the student body, I'm sure they would be interested in going to check out the event itself. But basically from what I gathered, there was a lot of students that did not like the data center that were there. Additionally, I went up and spoke, and there were a lot of people that didn't know that they were building a data center on Oakland's campus. Obviously, because information isn't too public. I know we have done some work to make it more public, but the general consensus was that they didn't know about it. And a lot of people did not seem happy about it, especially members of the community nearby. So yeah, that's my announcement.
Parliamentarian Bella.
Is this thing on? So the parliamentary guidelines have finally been finished today. I'll be sending those out tonight. And we have a long time for the next GBM, so hopefully you guys will have some time to look over them. It's just a comprehensive guide of how parliamentary procedure works, how our meetings proceed, all the motions and points and all that, how to do them. There will be a little date at the top of the document when it was last updated. And should myself or my committee make any updates to the document, you guys will be updated at the meetings. Thank you.
Anything else from legislative leadership? All right, moving on to legislative projects and initiatives. All right, moving on to questions related to legislative reports. Hearing none, moving on to liaison reports. Hearing none, moving on to executive reports presented by the student body President Johnson.
Thank you. All right, a couple of things from moi. I wanted to start with, some of you do know, some of you don't, but I wanted to make sure I told all of you now. This is more of a, it's a problem that has solved itself, which is good. So for those who don't know, Director Roberts decided to step down from the position of Director of Student Advocacy because right after we hired him, he ran into some unexpected issue with the university regarding his classes that would have kept us from being able to get him on the payroll. And he didn't want the work his role needed to do to get held up because of his situation. So he opted to step down, and in doing so, he also provided us with an alternative to replace him, which is helpful because the person he recommended was somebody who applied for the position right after we settled on hiring him. And it was someone who he actually has worked with before. And so have we, who he was going to seek help with a lot of the service initiatives he wanted to do on behalf of OUSC. And he had a chance to talk to her and give her the vibe of all the things he wanted to do. So he felt she would be the best person to naturally fit and take up all of the things he wanted to do. I was just talking with Speaker DeVore about this earlier today. She actually will be quite helpful for a lot of our future initiatives too. So yes, Speaker DeVore is quite happy about that too. So she, her name is Bintu. I could never pick up. Jai. Okay.
Pronounce it for that.
Yes, I could never remember how to pronounce her last name because I'm always going to get it wrong. Bintu Jai. I didn't have her go up for approval at this meeting because I didn't feel right just dumping all of this on you and then expecting you to approve someone else at the same time. It didn't feel fair as far as communication goes. So what I'll probably do is bring her on in the interim because I'd like the position to be filled, especially since we're canceling next week's meeting. And then the week after that, after you all had time to talk to her, get to know her, and work with her, I'll have her go up for approval. But that's this past weekend, which was uber fun. As far as some things to look forward, I should say look forward to expect coming up, pretty soon you will probably see from me a revision to the SAFAC bylaws. This is more so because we have a SAFAC meeting this week and I'm going to present to them some proposals of how we can revise them. I'd like to note that those bylaws have not been changed in eons. They are vintage is the easiest word I could use to describe them. And because of some of the changes that have been made, they need to be changed because there are parts in it that are utterly useless. So once I've discussed that with SAFAC and everybody's clear there, I'll present it to you all for approval. Starting this month, but nothing you need to worry about until we pass another budget, planning for African American Celebration Month has started. Student Congress usually contributes toward their Taste of Africa event, which is usually a very big success. I think last year we contributed to buying some really nice cups that had our logo on them. So I'm really excited to see what that's going to look like. Vice President Matthews and I got a chance to meet with the provost, who's actually really interested in doing some sort of social outing with us as an organization. What?
I did talk to her today, and she said that, and I told her about the basketball idea, but the legislature was appreciative.
So it seems that, because I spoke earlier today with Chairperson Faye and Legislator Black, about the notion of all of us with her attending a basketball game, which I wanted to pose to you all, and you should discuss this at your next legislature meeting, because I don't want to, take the decision out of your hands on that one, but something for us all to go to together. I know she'd love to come with us to it, and we can invite students to come and, do the rah, rah, rah from the student section, and I'll coordinate the Grizz gang to see if we can't get our own little pom-poms or whatever. Yeah, so we can, hype up the basketball game. But just, it's an idea she tossed out. I tossed it out to a couple of people. There seems to be some receptiveness to the idea. I think it'd be a fun thing, personally. I think we would all have a little bit of fun doing it. I personally have been needing to go to a basketball game anyway. I've yet to go to one my 3 years here, so I think it.
Shame.
Oh, come on! I've watched one. Anyway, but I think it'd be fitting for us all to try to make an event to go to one and show some support for. Well, congratulations, gold star for you.
Thank you.
Anyway, sorry. And then beyond that, I will mention that there are events happening there are 2 events happening this week. One has already been spoken on. If you should have gotten an email from me with a Google form for Haunted Hallways, that's from SBD, so that they can, just have it clear who all of the staff folks are, especially on our end. I will let Director DeMond talk about the event she has been spending a lot of time planning, which happens to be on the same day as Haunted Hallways. And what's interesting is that there's a 3rd event happening that day. It's a big Healthy Campus Kickoff Initiative. Apparently there are people who have been working like 15 years toward the result of this event. Toward this, and there's some charter President Peskovitz is signing that is committing Oakland to being one of the first 50 campuses in the country toward this promoting of healthy living. So if you'd like to attend that, go for it. But I assume a lot of you will be at the event that is to be announced by Director DeMond. Silver Thunder there. To prep that up. And then, finally, did I have anything? I will say this on behalf of both Speaker DeVore and Judiciary Chairperson Fayette. Please ensure that you are clocking in the required number of hours per week. And I will also add a caveat with that. Please make sure you are filling out your timesheets adequately as well. Because I don't think y'all know this, but if you don't, the Jen in the OSI office, she calls me, and then I have to deal with it. I don't like having to deal with it, and we don't want to make Jen grumpy because we love Jen. So just make sure you fill out your time sheets, you are filling out your time sheets, and you are doing your at least 1 hour a week. With that, I will yield the floor to the Vice President.
On to updates from the Vice President presented by Ms. So last week, we had a lot of meetings, one with the Student Affairs interim vice president, and with Judy Parker, the business manager. And a lot of great things came out of that conversation. And we were able to discuss setting up, there's a possible avenue to get free printing for students. Legislator Marcos had brought to our attention that, the WEPA here on campus, it's like a lot of other campuses have free printing and ours should too. And that was something that they were really, really receptive to. So we'll get more information once they have more information on that. Housing. Well, yeah. And then we also had a meeting with housing last week as well. And they're doing a charity gala, and OUSC has decided to help in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through donations, whether it's through, volunteers, but we had decided to help with financially the housing residence life. And we're also probably going to work with them because they're doing a similar event that we do, like for exam cramps, but they're gonna give out like bagels and coffee to housing students. And so we are thinking about like somehow working with them to maybe sponsor the food or whatnot. And hopefully we'll have more concrete updates as far as what they need, and so we can present it to you all. Also, there is a lot of new computing, like computers. And they made a new AI policy that was passed in their committee, because I'm part of that committee, I sit on that committee. And that is going to be presented in Senate. So once I have a chance to like read it thoroughly, I will give you guys more information on that. And also next week, more than likely, me and Legislator Marcos will be meeting with the ombudsperson to talk about, ways that we can get students more engaged on campus and just talk about student engagement in general, because that's a big issue that a lot of the university has been having. And one other thing, two actually, no, three. So we had an e-board meeting last Monday. It went really well. The other thing was that it left me exactly. Give me a second. The third thing was the first thing I said. Yeah, but I didn't go. Oh, there we go. I don't know. We can move on to updates related to e-board projects and initiatives. I'll remember it eventually.
Okay, two quick announcements. Last Saturday was Make a Difference Day. It went very, very well. For the campus cleanup that I ran, we had 10 volunteers that stayed for 4 hours. So we cleaned up all of Main campus, from the apartments to Math Science Center, the rec center, all of P1. Really well done. Over 15 trash bags were filled, and former Director Roberts was there helping us as well. Other announcement, Thursday's Beaver Fest, 11 a.m. to 1:30. I sent the little sign up. Just let me know if you want to help, stop by, get some free food, like little tote bags, little games. But yeah, that's it for me.
Chair, I'm going to keep this one quick. The biggest things that I accomplished over the past couple of weeks. One, maybe I mentioned previously, we had a tabling session where we hosted a few campaigns that are trying to gather signatures for ballot initiatives to be put on the statewide ballot next year. Planning that was primarily Erin's responsibility, so she's owed a lot of credit for that. I was glad to be part of that. Also, we've put out, we've gotten quite a few responses to our ongoing Student Congress opinion survey, asking students how satisfied they are with the way Congress is doing its job. Looking for suggestions for how we can more easily allow students to follow along with what we do and connect with the student body, and asking their opinions on a few key issues that are present on campus right now. I don't have any results from that, but I imagine that in the next couple of weeks I'll have some good useful data to share with you folks. That's all I've got.
I remember.
The other thing I forgot, we had a fun meeting with the AADP.
Oh.
And we were discussing some collaboration opportunities with them in the future. So when we get a better, because we're waiting to hear back from them as to what they're looking at doing, so that we can see how much we can do with them. But I am looking forward to the collaboration with them. They're very fun people. I love meeting with them.
So the second thing I was gonna say was that me and SVP, Student Video Productions, are working on a Thanksgiving video from OUSC to, students. And so if I had emailed you guys, not you guys, certain people in this room, I've emailed that you're gonna be interviewed. Please check your email if you haven't already to confirm whether you'll be able to make that interview time. And the premise of the video is, what are things that you're thankful for that OUSC does? And also, what are some offices that you're thankful for on campuses, so we can promote, offices that might not get the recognition they deserve. And also, I'm open to, if like one of the people who has been scheduled can't make it, if someone else, wants to send me their contact, I know you guys, I don't need contact, but someone wants to let me know. And then you can be like an alternate in case someone else can't do it. So please let me know if you're interested in being a part of that video. Also, in a meeting with the student affairs, we did talk about financial aid and scholarships, and I'm probably going to be scheduling a meeting with one of the people on one of the scholarship committees that OU has annually, and she is interested in student feedback. So if you have anything you would like me to bring up to her, please let me know, and I will be able to bring that up in our meeting that next time we have with her. And then something else that I remembered that was not on my initial list was that last Friday we had a meeting with the provost, and she did want our opinion generally on general education, and I believe it's a different there are different discussions happening around general education. So what was presented here is one thing. However, the provost had brought to us that, there are some faculty who want to make a language a requirement for all majors. And she also wanted to bring up about how students would feel if we had Friday as no class period. And so this is not a discussion, but if you want to talk to me after this meeting or let me know, set up a meeting with me to talk about, or Marcus, to talk about some of the things that the provost had mentioned, then please let me know. But yeah, that's it for me. You didn't write it down?
This was just.
Okay. So we do have an update from the DIA. Good evening, everyone. I hope this general body meeting has been fun for all of you. I don't have many things to tell you. I've just been working away at meeting minutes, but I have started to sort through our archives in preparation to share a large portion of the archives with the library. Really, the goal of giving all this to the library is just to open another route for students to see what the OUSC has been up to for the past 50 years. More importantly, giving students more access to the legislation passed by each administration. As many of you know, I've been working on updating the bylaws. We finally have all the changes made during the summer in the document. Other than that, I'll keep working away. Let me know if you need help with anything. You can always catch me at the office in the afternoons. Zach, then Pat. President Johnson.
I wanted to give Director Van Patten a little bit of kudos for how diligent he has been with the meeting minutes, because usually we have a very big backlog of those. But he's been pretty good about making sure we are consistent in keeping up with them. I just wanted to give him a little kudos from me on that one, with having him before.
Okay, do you have any questions related to executive reports? Chairperson, please.
Yeah, I just want to know, for the perspective going up for student advocacy director, could we possibly have them come to our next legislative meeting?
I don't see why not. That's part of the reason I didn't have them go up today, just so that they could take the time actually, get to know y'all, work with y'all, and probably come to next week's ledge meeting so that y'all can chit chat, plan, strategize, and get comfy. So yes, the answer to your questions, yes.
I have one quick point of information.
Speaking of
I won't be at that meeting unfortunately on November 7th. I am taking a weekend vacation. In my stead, Vice President Matthews will be running it, the task forces that day. So they will still happen. I just wanted to say I won't be the one running it. She will be the one having to run that. So that's my quick point of information.
Any other questions? All right, now do we have any updates from Advisor Miller?
Oh, yeah, I wanted to thank, she did such an awesome job at Make a Difference Day. I look forward. It was a big job, and Ron's very grateful for that recognition. So that was one thing I just wanted to thank her. And do you have anything else this time?
All right, do you have any comments from the gallery? All right, seeing none, do we have any other announcements? Advisor Miller.
I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, make sure you're going to my hallway. And we've got Midwest Gouling Piano. This is taking place, and they're showing Beetlejuice. Big night of activities.
It's like dueling pianos, I guess.
It is the same as dueling pianos, but it's all Halloween.
Sounds fun.
Live.
That sounds really
Live music.
nice. Where is this being held?
Activity check.
Okay, that's so neat.
As you go through the hallway, you go right to.
All right, hearing no other announcements. This meeting has been adjourned at 7:20.
See, that was the one thing you had to extend it to.
What? I asked for it, so I don't.
Yeah.
Oh.